How come Dad never gave someone like you his support? You're an enormous waste of space and entirely useless. This is your day of termination. Leave the firm right away. I was summoned in out of the blue and given this irrational notice of termination. What led to this situation? Disappointed, my wife merely gave me a depressing little sneer that bordered on evil when I informed her. That company is finished now. I'm 40 years old, and my name is Jeremy. I was fortunate enough to work for a well-known publishing house. My mother reared me by herself after I lost my father when I was a small child. Since I was impoverished, I spent a lot of time reading in the library, which was almost like my home. I was introduced to many realms and taken on numerous excursions via books. I've always wanted to write and to build my own fictional universes. As a student, I attempted to compete, but I was never even near. I was not gifted literarily, and I could not afford to pursue my dream of being a writer. This started to become more true after my mother passed away in middle school. I felt out of place living temporarily with relatives until I graduated from high school, so I tried to spend as much time in the library as I could. After high school, I was required to move out. This required giving up on attending college and focusing on getting a job. My dream career would involve books. Maybe I could help people who wrote novels even if I couldn't write mine. However, a high school graduate's employment prospects were restricted. President Parker, who happens to be the current president, contacted me at this stressful stage of my job search. We got together frequently in the library to talk about books and exchange recommendations. He said, "You are always here," one day. "Do you really love reading so much?" "I've always loved books and even aspired to be a writer," answered I. "Have you given up on being a writer?" inquired the man. I informed President Parker about my family's poverty, my mother's passing, living with relatives, and the need to find employment rather than attend college, but I hadn't given up on my dream of becoming a writer. "If you must work instead of pursuing further studies, how about trying for an interview at my company?" he asked. "It could be difficult for a recent high school graduate like you because we often seek for college graduates. But someone who shares your enthusiasm might succeed. I can only offer to set up a time for you to have an interview. How would you respond?" "I'll carry it out. Please give me this chance," I said, jumping at the chance. It was unimaginable that a recent high school graduate would get a job offer from a big publishing business. I was ready to work in any sector if this possibility didn't work out. I went into the interview with all of my determination because I didn't want to blow this opportunity. I did that to get into the company, and I have been an editor for 25 years, starting when I was 18. I work as a manager for numerous well-known authors now, and while I feel bad for my wife Sarah, I enjoy what I do. I appreciate Sarah's understanding of what I do, and it's her encouragement that lets me focus so much on my profession, even though I wish I could spend more time with Tyler, our 3-year-old son. President Parker passed away after suffering from ill health for a long time. It was incomprehensible to lose President Parker. Ever since our chat in the library, he'd have been like a father to me. I, a recent high school graduate, was able to perform on par with college grads both as an editor and as a person because of his rigorous yet compassionate supervision. I owe President Parker the position I hold today, managing numerous authors. Managing Mr. Anderson, the company's best-selling author and literary powerhouse, was one of my proudest accomplishments. Due to Mr. Anderson's difficult working style, numerous editors were promptly reassigned. My predecessor, President Parker, was friendly with him, and they used to refer to one another as comrades instead of friends. I was extremely happy of myself when President Parker acknowledged me and gave me the assignment, Mr. Anderson. Work wouldn't wait for me, even though I was devastated to lose President Parker, to whom I owed a great deal and who I looked up to as a father figure. "Do you suppose he would want you to end this now? Pull yourself together." Mr. Anderson patted me on the back, saying, "You won't do him any honor like this." Our writers are putting in a lot of effort to live up to the high expectations of the people who are waiting for their works. I cannot afford to remain motionless. More people than just myself were devastated by President Parker's passing. His kind disposition had made him the beloved of many, and many of our affiliated writers were extremely saddened by his untimely passing in addition to the staff. It was around this period that Alex Parker became the new president. Despite our age difference, I felt a closer bond with Alex, the sole child of the former president. I'd received invitations to have dinner with the Parker family on multiple occasions and to have meals with Alex ever since President Parker took me under his wing. As President Parker once said, an editor must always be willing to expand their perspectives. Spend some time with my son too, he would say, and he would drive us to other hangout spots. With his charm and superb manners, Alex didn't seem like the usual hare. He began to like me and referred to me as Big Brother. I considered President Parker, Alex, and his spouse to be my second family. Alex worked in a different industry for a few years after graduating from college, ostensibly to gain experience in management fundamentals. I was relieved to learn that Alex was joining the organization to assume the role of president. Alex's return made me pleased as well, and I was excited to collaborate with him. I was curious about his growth as I hadn't heard from him since he graduated from college. But I was surprised to see how drastically the Alex I knew had changed. He turned despotic, unfairly scolding subordinates, and quickly ending the contracts of writers whose revenues even slightly declined. He developed a narrow-minded, sales-focused mindset and limited his goals to blockbuster successes. The sales of this book are not good. By whom was this written? Cancel the contract. We don't need such people in my company, he yelled. But, President Parker, this book was just released recently, and the author has produced numerous hits before, I responded. Cease talking. Does it really matter whether they have prior success? If they aren't making sales right now, it's pointless. We have the resources to continue canceling underperforming authors. The employees' tension increased when the contract was promptly signed, and they were unable to conceal their uneasiness. Then one day I received a call to Alex's workplace. Hey, are you even interested in your work? You shouldn't become arrogant just because you are the author of one best-selling book. Alex scared everyone in the room when he pounded his desk when I walked in. I'm exerting every effort. Alex, what's wrong with you? Why did you alter in this way? I inquired. I've changed from who I was to who I am. I'm the president, so don't call me casually. Alex's face flushed as he yelled. I never thought I would like you. Do you really think you can act like a big brother just because my dad liked you? He asked. That was never my intention, I answered. Observe this. Mr. Anderson is the only writer under your supervision who is enjoying good sales. How do the other writers fare? What purpose do editors serve? Alex threw the sales report at me like he was getting rid of it. It's true that Mr. Anderson sells a lot of his products, but it doesn't mean the others don't either. We've gone this far because, as authors, we all have our fans, I answered. If they're not selling like Mr. Anderson, what kind of authors are they? Alex shot back. An editor's job is to make boring material exciting. It is your responsibility to make the author's work more marketable if it is uninteresting. You used to be an aspiring writer, right? That would no longer make it the author's work, I murmured, perplexed. Writers are made possible by their readers. We as editors will abandon the audience if we begin to interfere too much. Do not dare give me instructions. You just finished high school. How much do you know? Alex fired back. Even if we collaborate on creating a work, altering it without the author's consent is never permissible, I said with conviction. Have you forgotten your predecessor's guiding principles? As a son, didn't Alex still hold President Parker in high regard? Did he? I was unable to tell. He had altered in a way that I could not comprehend. Now that I'm president, my dad is no longer with us. You're a mere high school graduate, and you've got some nerve. Alex refused to even look at me. I won't change the works no matter what you say. With a glimpse of hope, I said to Alex, the previous editor valued the author's originality above all, and I think the editor's role is to collaborate while maintaining that integrity. I thought President Parker would never have approved of any changes made to the works. What made my father ever back someone who is similar to you? You're fired today because you're incompetent trash. Leave the firm right away, Alex bellowed. I was really disappointed because I had not anticipated leaving on such harsh terms. Was I really that foolish to think that if we just talked, we could understand each other? Focusing on it wouldn't make a difference. No matter how much thinking I put into it, the fact that I had been fired would remain the same. I have to think about my family. After gathering my things, I departed from the company. I told my wife, Sarah, I'm home. I'm sorry to spring this on you, but I have something to tell you. Good to see you again. You are very pale. Wow. What happened? She inquired. I told my wife everything the moment I got home. She brought me some coffee, consoled me, and listened carefully to the very end. My wife was tolerant and kind even during these difficult moments, and her kindness seemed even more meaningful in light of my unhappiness with Alex's change. Curiously, though, my wife was grinning mischievously. Jeremy, you're done with that company. Let's take it easy for a while since you'll be busy again soon. She said, Don't worry, everything will be fine. And then she left the room to pick up the phone. I got a call from Alex a few days later. Jeremy, what are you thinking about doing? Is this a kind of retaliation? High school graduates are incompetent for this reason. Alex became furious. It appeared that the writers for whom I was accountable had started a mass boycott that seriously affected the business's ability to operate. It seems that Mr. Anderson, the literary behemoth I had been overseeing, was the mastermind. Naturally, I was unaware of this. Sitting opposite me, my wife flashed a triumphant smile. The company's main writer, Mr. Anderson, is a living legend whose writings will be honored for generations because of his multiple honors, which include the Nobel Prize. His impact on other writers is immense. Mr. Anderson spearheaded the movement, which caused a huge commotion and made the boycott a popular story in the media. Nevertheless, Mr. Anderson's influence wasn't the only reason for the boycott. After publication, the author and readers were made aware of the changes Alex had instructed in the work. Admirers of an author can detect changes made to their work. Every author has their admirers. I read what you just wrote. Have you not altered your style significantly? I liked your old design more, a few readers commented. These days, with social media, authors may become wary of such candid reader comments. As the changes were discovered one by one, the ignorant writers became enraged, which caused a huge controversy for the business. Readers also began to lose faith in Alex's company, which led to the company's bankruptcy and subsequent acquisition by a bigger corporation. Alex was made to step down, and every executive who had anything to do with the changes was fired and left on their own. A few days following the controversy, I went to Mr. Anderson's house. Mr. Anderson, I can't thank you enough for everything, I replied. What topic are you discussing? It was certain that the company would fail, even in the absence of my assistance. All I did was add some flair to the proceedings. More significantly, you're a superb editor who has consistently approached her profession with the same enthusiasm for books as the authors. Irrespective of our family relationship, whomever is stupid enough to terminate you is seriously mistaken. And there was Mr. Anderson, my father-in-law, laughing merrily. I have been with the company for 15 years, and I have been Mr. Anderson's handler for 10 of those years. Mr. Anderson gave me this kind of appreciation even on that particular day. Jeremy, how long has it been since you became my editor? 10 years have passed. You've taught me so much, Mr. Anderson. Is that accurate? You've always had such modesty. I'll not pressure you, but I have a serious suggestion for you. Please think it over. And that's how I met Sarah, my current wife, the daughter of Mr. Anderson. My work ethic and character made him think that I would make a good spouse. My visits to their house only gave me a cursory introduction to them, but after a 5-year relationship, we were married. It was none other than Mr. Anderson that my wife was phoning the day I got fired. I had told her about the internal affairs of the company, and she had been conferring with her father about them. Mr. Anderson had been worried about the future of the business ever since the death of the predecessor. Consequently, the company's disdain for its writers was made known to the public, forcing Alex to step down and ultimately resulting in the company's bankruptcy. Thanks to Mr. Anderson's strong endorsement, I was appointed president of the combined business following the scandal. Despite having little management experience, I manage each day by learning new things every day and being occupied. I am slowly becoming the person I used to be again because of my hardworking and honest work ethic, which has gained me a lot of trust from the officers I have managed thus far. Also, we're concentrating on educating new hires to avoid mistakes made in the past. Even with a massive workload, I enjoy taking on this crucial moment. A subordinate burst into my office one day. President Johnson among the job applicants. There's he's. It appears that Alex was one of the people that had an interview coming up in a few days. Alex H. Okay, I'll speak with him. Are you serious? Are you sure it's acceptable after everything he did? He was nurtured by Mr. Parker, the former president, almost as a brother. He is actually Mr. Parker's son. That incident had to have been caused by something. I'll go talk to him properly and accept responsibility for what he did. I made the decision to interview Alex one-on-one in spite of the criticism and the anxiety of my staff. I wanted to have a proper chat with Alex because I was worried about him. Alex seemed like the old Alex on the day of the interview. Jeremy, I'm truly sorry for what happened, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Well, I'm sure there were some conditions that I'm missing. Come on, Alex, and let's chat. Pieces of Alex's tale were shared. He was given a significant project to work on while on assignment, and he and a colleague put in a lot of extra effort to make sure it was successful. Nevertheless, crucial data was lost on project day due to an error made by one of his colleagues. The initiative failed, despite their best efforts to retrieve it. Alex was fired from the company after his colleague, a distant relative of Williams, the president, placed all the responsibility on him. Then word leaked out that his father had died. Alex's confidence had already been damaged by the project's failure. He could no longer trust anyone, which made the idea of taking over the business intimidating. Nevertheless, he became fixated on chasing numbers since he believed he couldn't let his father's business fail. I now realize how foolish I was, and I said terrible things to you, Jeremy. I felt a little relieved to see Alex speaking through tears. His fundamental nature had not altered. Alex, I'm happy you shared. Although what you did was unacceptable, time has moved on. Alex is now a productive member of our team. We collectively expressed our regret to the writers and staff several times, eventually winning back their trust. Even though it took some time, Alex was always a sincere and hardworking young man, so it wasn't too difficult for him to win back people's trust with his honesty and work ethic. Alex and I talked a lot about our upbringing as siblings, our feelings about the deceased predecessor, and our plans for the future after that interview. During our extensive talks, I came to understand the extent of the support I had received from everyone in my immediate vicinity, including the late President Parker. It was now my time to repay Alex, to stand with him through good times and bad. Alex, I would want to share with you what I got from the previous owner. I support you in everything. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you need assistance at any time. Because we capitalized on his later experience, Alex is no longer working as an editor, but rather as the company's operations manager. In the face of a challenging publishing environment, our company's performance has improved due to his proactive efforts in soliciting feedback from junior staff members. I could not have succeeded alone, and neither could my predecessor. It's because of the new outlook Alex brought to the business. Since Alex joined us, our performance has dramatically improved. It's not only what I accomplished. You and Dad set the foundation, which allowed this to happen. Alex and I now operate the business jointly, supporting one another like true brothers in the absence of a parent. People initially felt that I was too good-hearted to put up with someone who behaved that way. Mr. Anderson appeared to have given Alex a harsh reprimand as well. However long it takes, you can win back the trust you've lost. Keep in mind that Jeremy, the person who took you in, is equally impacted by your behavior. I'm keeping an eye on things, Mr. Anderson stated, his eyes friendly but firm. Although these years have been filled with many different experiences, I have also felt genuinely fortunate to have the people in my life. President Parker, who took me in and reared me when my parents passed away, and my parents, who raised me with all their might despite being impoverished. Even after I gained my independence, I was able to stay in touch with Sarah, who has consistently provided unwavering support, and meet my mentor, Mr. Anderson. The writers and staff have encouraged me, which has gotten me this far. While Alex made an inexcusable error, would he have made the same mistake if he hadn't had the experiences at the assignment location? It's also true, though, that he was able to learn from that experience. That episode was a turning point for the organization and also contributed to its expansion. Even if we were once distrusted, we are still at the top of the public publishing sector. Am I repaying President Parker enough? I've recently been able to spend more time at home with my family because of Alex's hard work. Jeremy, you've put forth enough effort. It's my turn to take the lead now. Are you certain? Avoid going overboard. Oh no, it appears that you don't trust Alex if you are so worried. But now Alex understands this. Come on, let's go. Okay, no need to worry. I'll give you a call if anything occurs. The group you've assembled is competent. It's time to perform some household chores. Thanks to Alex and the team for ensuring that I could take a little time off. The family and I are going on a vacation today. All right, I'll give things over to you for the time being. See you shortly. I've come this far by leading an honest and moral life. I held my family's hands and felt grateful for all of my blessings.